Lord, the call is yours. I'm out.
It is a rosy kind of day. I woke up this morning, always grateful, but my mom was heavy on my heart this morning. So, I don't think I've ever started with thinking about her. So I'm just going to dedicate this talk this morning to moms and amazing moms and moms out there doing amazing things. Because I truly, truly miss this lady every single day. And so I'm in such gratitude for my life because she was an amazing mother. Hold on. There we go. There we go. Just, I just was saying, I just want to dedicate this call this morning to the memory of my mother, Sandy Martin. She truly was an amazing lady. And this morning I really woke up just missing her. And so I'm grateful for each and every one of you because I tell you, you guys are the strength no matter what. No matter what. My LCA family has been with me through so many trends, and today is no different. So I'm just saying thank you for being my family. Because sometimes you the things that we do, we got foundations, and so here's my mommy. See my mommy. I miss my mommy. Oh, wow. I miss my mommy. So on to the business of the business.
Yes.
I got up this morning. I wanted to be rosy because I was feeling that way. And one of the things that I decided to wear was my beautiful jewelry from Nicole. Nicole hooked me up. These are my presents that she sent me for my birthday. So I'm really happy this morning. I'm all bejeweled and bedazzled and rosy and all of that. They say when you feel good, when you look good, you feel good. So this is me looking good to feel good. So I hope that you have your pencils and papers together, because today, just like every other day, is going to be jam-packed with information that y'all might not like, but I'm gonna tell it anyway. How about that?
Tell it.
So we've been talking.
That's the best show, that.
Everybody is, constantly trying to eat better, do better. I just heard Laverne say about her A1C, and it's so important to be mindful of the stuff that you are eating. Jessica Castile said, "Hey, Mr. Motivator." She's on Facebook. He said, "Hey," she can hear you. But today, as I do my research all the time, and I talked about this briefly last week, but it really weighed on me as I was in the grocery store yesterday, looking at the options. And so we have cut out beef, we have cut out pork. Some of you have cut out chicken and turkey and said, "I'm only eating fish." Well, do you know that there are some fish out there that you might as well eat bacon because they so bad?
Really?
So I'm going to talk about the fish that you shouldn't eat, plus give you some safer options. Fish is a big deal because it can really be a power food for us. But there are some fish that are so inflammatory that can be, toxic to your body. And depending on what what fish you choose. So it's important to pay attention to the fish that you should never eat, because the fish bring us omega-3 fatty acids, which are very important to our bodies. And certain fish can be very, very good sources for that. But because of things like mining, sewage, fossil fuel emissions, heavy metals like mercury is winding up in the water, and then because it's in the water, it's building up in the fish. So even low level mercury poison from contaminated fish or seafood is a real threat and can really have devastating effects on your health. And so not only that, some fish have been so overfished that they're on the brink of collapse. So they're almost extinct, which can really be detrimental to the ocean's ecosystem. So we want to be really, really mindful of which ones. So fortunately, there are some healthy, low contaminant choices that are out there. And so we're gonna talk about who they are and what they are. And so we're going to take a look at first the fish you should never eat. Okay. The first one is tilapia. And I know you know that, you heard it. I remember when tilapia first came out, it was the best thing since sliced bread. It tastes so good.
Yes.
But tilapia is one of the ones that's worse than eating bacon. So if you're thinking about having tilapia, just have some bacon instead. I'd rather have the bacon. And so what's happening with tilapia, you know, because it's so farmed, it will lead to high inflammation in the body. They did a big study in 2008, the Journal of American Dietetic Association, and they said no. Wake Forest University School of Medicine also said that tilapia is one of the most consumed fish in America. And the problem with that is it's very, very low in the beneficial omega-3 fatty acids. And worse, it has high levels of omega-6 fatty acids, which are terrible for you. And so by doing that, it really helps to, it maintains high levels of inflammation in the body. And because of high inflammation, it can worsen symptoms of other things in the body. It can worsen if you have autoimmune. It can worsen if you have chronic conditions like heart disease, cancer, or diabetes. So if you must eat fish, avoid tilapia, especially from China, because in China, farming practices are very worrisome. There are better sources in the US, in the United States, in Canada, the Netherlands, Ecuador, and Peru. So if you can find it from those sources, turn over the packaging, ask your fishman or your farmer, your seafood person, ask them where it is from. And so United States, Canada, the Netherlands, Ecuador, and Peru are where healthier forms of tilapia come from. Of course, wild caught tilapia is preferable, but you know, wild caught is preferable as a farm fish, but it's very, very hard to find in tilapia specifically. The second fish you should never eat is Atlantic cod. Historically, Atlantic cod species were vitally important to feed the New World civilizations and early colonizations in the Caribbean. But because of heavy fishing over the last 1,000 years, it really has taken its toll on this fish. So in the late 1990s, the fisheries, you know, it collapsed. So although female cods, they release a lot of eggs, hundreds of millions, but few of them survive to adulthood. So according to oceana scientists, they agree that North Atlantic food webs have fundamentally changed as a result of the Atlantic cod collapse. So the species is currently considered vulnerable and on the verge of extinction. And so if you are a fan of cod liver oil, make sure it's not sourced from Atlantic cod. Instead, opt for Alaskan cod caught with you know, certain ways that they catch these fish. So you want to look for Alaskan cod, not Atlantic cod. Hold on. What did you say? Hold on. Wait a minute. So you want it from Alaska, not Atlantic.
So is it that we're avoiding it because it's near extinction? Extinction, or are we avoiding it because it's bad?
We're avoiding it because there is none. It's extinct. And so, you know, and as certain things become extinct, it affects our ecosystem. So you want to opt for Alaskan cod versus Atlantic cod.
Did she say it's not real?
Oh, it's some of them that have been created, you know. The next one is Atlantic flatfish, Atlantic halibut, flounder, and sole, all from the Atlantic, all due to overfishing and high contamination levels. The flatfish species have secured their spot in a fish that you in 2014, Oceana, again, the largest ocean conservation group in the world, conducted an investigation using data from the National Marine Fisheries Service. It identified the 9 worst fisheries in the United States based on wasted bycatch. And so they found that commercial fishermen in the United States throw about 2 billion pounds of bycatch overboard each year. And that's equivalent to about 500 million seafood meals. And that's the stuff that they use to catch the fish with. So they're contaminating the waters. And so they said that the contamination is making these particular fish very high in contamination levels. And you know, you are what you eat. And so the more trash you eat, the more trash ends up in your body. And because of that, it can cause more of the problems with things like autoimmune diabetes, heart disease, and any other chronic or terminal illness that a person may be dealing with. So you want to avoid those fishes as well. And so a lot of times, you know, some of these fish, they look really good, but they come from these fisheries that are damaging and has all of that bad stuff in the water that they're using to catch the fish. This one blew me away because I was like, but I got to eat it one time. The number 4 is fish eggs, caviar. Caviar from beluga sturgeon. This particular fish is caught for its caviar, for its fish eggs. This fish can grow really large and can live to really be 100 years old and can carry several hundred pounds of caviar, which can be worth about $3,500 per pound.
Hold up. Did you just say, wait. Did you just say
Can't
you gotta have it?
No. I said I wanted to eat it one time. I said I wanted to try it one time, but there's other options. We just have to find out where it comes from. Because you know, when you and Craig take me to the island and to Miami and stuff, y'all gotta feed me caviar and you know, all that. You know, I'm waiting for it. I'm waiting for it. So this particular fish is in a lot of trouble. Also, it is near extinction. It's completely gone from several seas and rivers where it used to live, and scientists fear that it's critically endangered. So it's highly vulnerable to extinction across its entire range. So without further protection and enforcement, we may forever lose one of the biggest, most interesting fish in the world. So if you absolutely cannot give up caviar, Seafood Watch recommends that you get caviar from blue sturgeon raised in recirculating aquaculture systems in the United States, which is a more sustainable alternative. And so that is blue sturgeon raised in recirculating aquaculture systems. Recirculating aquaculture system, which means it's still farm raised, but it's a better version. It is more sustainable. It's very technical. The next one, number 5, one of my favoriteest fish, Chilean sea bass. Actually named Patagonia toothfish. seafood distributors started marketing this deep sea predator fish as Chilean sea bass because it sounded less intimidating than Patagonia toothfish. That's what it is. And it worked. So now on common menus around the United States, you see Chilean sea bass, and overfishing has left this one in trouble of distinction as well. But because of overfishing, and it also has high mercury levels in this particular fish too. So harvesting the fish from Chile has also had the same problem with this bycatch problem, which ends up adding all of this contamination to the fish, which makes it really bad for us. Number 6 is eel. I don't even eat eel. I don't know who want to eat eel, but people eat eel. And when I read this, I'm like, how? Right, eel is ill, right? But I noticed that they put eel in like sushi. So if you like sushi, a lot of times sushi has eel in it, and so eel is the one that you should avoid at all costs, especially in the sushi guide. First of all, it is overfished, and that makes it almost extinct. But the problem with eels is, okay, so they're in the water, so they protect the water supply. And they were talking about the eels in the Delaware River. I didn't even know that they had eels in the Delaware River, but what eels do is they spread the mussels around. And so they're responsible for moving the mussel populations around to waters, and they are natural water filters. So you think about what's in the water, and the eel is filtering it. So they absorb and store harmful chemicals, contaminants such as polycarbonated bisphenols, the PCBs, also flame retardants. And in certain states like New Jersey, river eels are so contaminated that adults are advised not to eat more than 1 eel per year. First of all, they don't got to worry about me ever eating an eel, because that just don't even sound like that's something that I should eat. Yuck. And so stay away from eel in your sushi, because that's usually where it shows up at. So nah. Number 7, farmed salmon. Farm salmon, however you say it. Americans consume a lot of salmon. It is the go-to fish, especially for those working out and getting healthy and all of that. But the problem is most of it is unhealthy. Most salmon is marketed as Atlantic salmon, but it is farmed, meaning that the fish are raised in conditions ridden with pesticides, fecal matter, bacteria, and parasites. So it must, yes, Laverne, it must be wild caught. And so a lot of times, even when I noticed something that said wild caught, but when I turned it over, it said a China product. Now, how is it wild caught if it's from China? So you got to turn the bag over. If you buying it that way, if you buying it frozen, you got to turn that bag over and make sure it doesn't say it's from China. Because if it's from China, they lying on the front. You know, the front of the bag. I heard this lady. Her name is I don't know her name. She goes by Surviving Vegan on Instagram, and she said the front of your packaging is for entertainment purposes. The front of all food packaging is for entertainment. And she said when you turn it over and read the back, that's where the education is. So in the front of it is entertainment, and the back is education. So don't pay attention to none of that stuff that's on the front of your packaging, because they saying all kinds of stuff. Wild caught, good for you, and they say all of that, and then you turn it over and it says from China. So we already know that in China they get to do whatever they want. They don't have the same stringent guidelines as all these other places do. So you want to be really careful about buying salmon that's farm raised. There's studies that shows that farm raised salmon is more likely to contain more contaminants like the PCBs, the polychlorinated bisphenols, which are linked to insulin resistance, obesity, cancer, and stroke. They also found that these farm-raised salmon is treated with antibiotics, which tend to increase the inflammatory omega-6 fatty acids. So for a better alternative, skip Atlantic salmon or opt for wild-caught Alaskan salmon instead, and make sure, even if the front of it says wild-caught Alaskan salmon, that you turn over the back and make sure that they are not giving you something that is not good for you. So you want to skip that one altogether. The next one, which is something that I noticed that came up over the last couple of years, imported basa. And you know, Ron's over here at Broad and Island, Ron's the Caribbean spot. They make the best basa ever. And they give you a big old platter full to this. Yeah. So basa, swai, striped catfish, also often labeled just catfish. Now, these fish are popping up as trendy new menu items all over the United States, I noticed. And what you're really getting is a fish called pagaceus or swai fish, a much cheaper alternative than that wholesales for about $2 a pound. They sell it to you for $20 a platter. And more than that in the store. But a study done in 2016 found that 70 to 80% of this Pangasius samples were contaminated by Vibrio bacteria, the microbes behind most cases of shellfish poisoning. So aside from destroying important river life and wetlands, this fish factory farming methods results in fish swimming in waste and sludge, and they're commonly treated with all these antibiotics, including pesticides and disinfectants. So if you see swai, basa, striped catfish, or any other type of imported catfish on the menu, run. Run. Damn. And take it as a sign that that restaurant isn't taking seafood safety seriously or sustainability seriously. I'm like, man, that's crazy, because that really speaks volumes to the places that sell it. It's one thing to see it in the supermarket as an option. It's another thing to see it on a menu at a restaurant.
Oh God.
So it really is saying that they not taking seafood safety seriously or sustainability seriously. So yeah. I've seen it. So I quit Ron's after I read this. Number 9, imported farmed shrimp. Is shrimp good for you? When it comes to farm shrimp, which accounts for about 90% of the shrimp we consume, the answer is a resounding no. In 2009, Italian researcher discovered that, this is a long word, 4-hexylescanol resoxanol, a food additive used to prevent discoloration in shrimp that could reduce sperm count in men and increase breast cancer risk in women. Not only that, all the pesticides that are used globally in shrimp production are banned for use in the U.S. shrimp farms. So shrimp farm ponds are also treated with harmful chemicals and pesticides such as malachite green, rotenone, and organotin compounds, all of which have detrimental effects on health. The associated, it should be illegal. It really should be. An Associated Press investigator uncovered a slavery network in Thailand dedicated to peeling shrimp sold around the world. In 2007, Thailand alone exported 1.224 billion to the United States, according to the Food and Water Watch. So, if you must eat shrimp, Monterey Bay Seafood Watch recommends the U.S. farm version or Alaskan shrimp. Must be wild caught, y'all. And I'm a seafood girl. I love seafood. And this just made me like, I ain't doing it. I don't want it. Number 10, imported.
Can I go?
Can you go? Shamira, can he go? Can she go, Shamira? Number 10, imported king crab. About 75% of king crab sold in the United States is imported from Russia, where unsustainable fishing practices are common. Although Alaskan king crab legally can be called that if they're harvested from Alaska, but widespread mislabeling, remember I said the front is for entertainment, the back is for education. And so even though it might be harvested there, widespread mislabeling is the norm. So many red king crabs caught in Russia under questionable practices are marketed as Alaskan king crab legs. So you should avoid imported king crab at all costs. It's important to be completely sure that those crab legs, where they come from, before you order them or eat them. If the label claims that it's imported in Alaska, something is clearly wrong. You can also check Seafood Watch's complete crab recommendations for more information. So Seafood Watch is something that you can Google. So yeah, you need to know where it came from. How can it be imported and from Alaska at the same time?
Hey, Darlaina.
Listen, I'm a seafood lover. I'm with you.
Hey, time out. T, I'm getting ready to throw we gotta throw that in. We gotta file that out for a second.
I'm so sorry.
I need you to just come. I need you to say now, because what did you just say about it again with the crab?
Most of it comes now. We're not talking about snow crabs. We're not talking about Dungeness. We talk about the king, the big one, the ones that's really, really big. You know, they be about this, right? The real big one, the one that ballers be doing, the big ones. Yeah. Those big. Yeah, okay. The king. So we talking about the king. So you want to make sure that those king crab legs are not imported from Russia or somewhere else. Yes, the king. Because it can't be imported from Russia and then from Alaska too. So you got to watch this labeling. Remember, the front is for entertainment, the back is for education. So you want to flip it over, see where it comes from. And if it comes from someplace questionable, China don't have no rules. They could do it however they want to do it.
Right. So
we good. The same thing with your Dungeness and your snow. You want to make sure that it's coming from where it's supposed to come from. Not from China. You want to make sure that it's wild caught for real. And sometimes we really want to have what we want to have. And so I say, if it's something that you really want, have it in very small quantities. A little won't hurt you unless you are already fighting a chronic illness or a terminal illness, then absolutely not. But if you're completely healthy and you have a little here and there every so many months or something, then I think that you'll be fine, because we are made to fight contaminants. We are born for that. We have immunities for that. But if you are autoimmune deficient, if you have diabetes or high blood pressure or any of those other things, I may not chance it with those things making it worse. But anything in moderation, I think you'll be fine. Okay. That makes sense? Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And so the next one is orange roughy. This is one of the longest living marine fish species. Orange roughy can live to 150 years. It's also known as slime head within the scientific community. Seafood marketers had other ideas for this fish and gave it's a more appetizing name. The end result is severely overfished species again, and since it doesn't reach its maturity because they pull them out so far, so early, they pull them out at like 20 and they live to 150. So they're having a hard time recovering. And so they are definitely killing that whole population. And also it's in those spaces that's being overfished with the contaminants and all that kind of stuff. So the mercury levels have been really high in this fish. And so it because of that, it has very high amounts and is dangerous to consume. Even small amounts of mercury, you know, your thermometer, and in your thermometer there's mercury in it.
Yes.
If you took just that amount of mercury that's in the thermometer and dropped it in some water in a lake or river, it would completely decimate an entire body of water, that small amount. So mercury is very devastating. And so you don't want to introduce any mercury to your body for your body to have to fight. So no orange roughy. The next one is shark. Sharks are commonly found on fish you should never eat for a lot of reasons. One, it bosses the sea, is very high on the food chain, and that translates to higher mercury levels that you should avoid because they eat everything. They're slow to mature. They don't have a lot of offspring, so they're also severely depleted too, because of the high demand for shark fins in Asian cuisine. And so they often get caught accidentally too by a lot of tuna and swordfish fishermen, and they're just discarded as waste. So no sharks, high in contamination, and also extinct. The next one, Atlantic bluefin tuna. Bluefin tuna is highly sought after for sushi ingredients, but it's best to say no thanks to that popular fish, often referred to as Han Magora on sushi menus. Simply means bluefin tuna. So no Han Magora. So if you're going somewhere out and you see Han Magora, say, no thanks. A better sushi choice would be Katsuo, Katsua, or skipjack, Skipjack tuna, caught through Pacific troll or pole line methods only. So Atlantic bluefin lands on the never eat because it's overfished, and because of its demand for the sushi and the fisheries are allowing commercial fishers to target it, and it's bringing the populations down very low, and again has high levels of mercury because of where and how it's fished. So no bluefin tuna. Number 14, swordfish. Mercury is the main concern when it comes to swordfish. Avoiding that. It's a large predatory fish, and it contains very high levels of mercury. And the mercury is so high in that fish that the Environmental Defense Fund recommends women and children avoid it altogether. For men, the recommendation is to eat no more than 1 serving per month. Stay away from that stuff, y'all. Number 15, king mackerel. Mackerel is certainly packed with so much healthy omega-3s, but when it comes in certain types of mackerel, you could be getting more than you bargained for. And that's certainly the case when it comes to king mackerel. The Food and Drug Administration warns that women and children to outright avoid it. You may want to avoid Spanish mackerel too, which has also been shown to have very high elevated levels of mercury. Luckily, Atlanta mackerel is high in omega-3s, low in mercury, and rated top choice in terms of health and sustainability. So you want to look for Atlantic mackerel. Anything else from anywhere else is a no-go, but Atlantic mackerel is good. Number 16, grouper. Grouper is on the list when it comes to the fish you should never eat due to its high mercury levels. Again, it is highly vulnerable to overfishing, and it is a common target for seafood fraud. They found more than a third of 19 restaurants in Atlanta sold pagasius, also known as Vietnamese catfish, as grouper, but it's not. So stay away from that because they be lying. Testing also found that grouper for sale is actually often king mackerel or whitefish, weak fish, or a cheaper alternative. Between 1/5 to more than 1/3 of the halibut, grouper, cod, and Chilean sea bass samples are all mislabeled. There's something else. And lastly on the list is sturgeon. Also, beluga sturgeon, also especially targeted for their eggs. Other sturgeons are at risk as well, but some appear on restaurant menus. According to the International Union for Conservation of Nature, sturgeon are more critically endangered than any other group of species. And add on the mercury and contamination, and yeah, that's the one you want to stay away from. So here are your handful of healthier options. The best fish options are the ones that come from sustainable fisheries, low in contaminants, and high in omega fatty acids. Monterey Bay Aquarium Seafood Watch calls this the super green list. The fish that fits the healthiest bill include wild-caught Alaskan salmon. When you choose wild-caught Alaskan salmon, you get to enjoy the true salmon health benefits. In addition to being rich in heart-healthy fats, salmon is a great source of protein, B vitamins, potassium, and selenium. Wild-caught Alaskan salmon. Just make sure you turn it around and make sure that it still says the same thing on the back of the packaging that it says on the front of the packaging. The next healthy option is Pacific sardines. Sardines serve as really one of the highest omega-3 fatty acid sources on the planet because they are a fish lower on the food chain. Contaminant levels are low. Sardines are brimming with essential nutrients, including vitamin B12, vitamin D, calcium, and selenium. So it's very good for you. I know my mom used to give them to us when we were little, and I'm like, I'm not eating that. And so now the newer versions of sardines are much nicer looking and better. And yeah, it's not like when we were growing up. The next one is Atlantic mackerel. This is an oily fish high in omega-3 fatty acids, along with protein, niacin, selenium, vitamin B12. Keep in mind that mackerel is often served in tons of salt, so be sure to soak it and rinse it well before cooking and eating it to reduce the sodium levels in it. So although they some of the seafood choices, they contain moderate amounts of mercury, these fish also provide 100 to 250 milligrams per day of omega-3s and are classified as good choices. And that is albacore tuna. And they talk about it being troll or pole caught from the United States or British Columbia. United States or British Columbia for albacore tuna. The next one is sablefish or black cod, and that comes from Alaska or Canadian Pacific. So those are your healthier choices. That's it, a handful. How many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Literally 5 healthier choices. So finding safer seafood really can be challenging and requires you to consider all of the factors, including sustainability, if it's nutritional or not, to whether or not what the mercury levels are, risk of contamination with pollutants and pesticides, all of these harmful chemicals. You want to be mindful of all of that. So in addition to avoiding the fish that you should never eat that we listed, you can also there's a seafood guide app from Monterey Bay Aquarium Seafood Watch, and they will help you to find more sustainable choices. So it's called Monterey Bay, Monterey Bay Aquariums Seafood Watch to find more sustainable choices. And you can also support Seafood Watch restaurants and business partners. And that way you can know that they are sourcing and using more sustainable and healthy seafood. You can also sign up for Food and Water Watch. It's a nonprofit watchdog community that keeps a close eye on the seafood industry. So finally, when you do decide to eat fish, opt for things that are wild caught, Alaskan salmon, Pacific sardines, Atlantic mackerel, those things that we identified. It's not to say that we can't have it. We just need to be mindful of how we enjoy these our fishes and our seafoods. So yeah, don't eat the bad stuff. Make sure that everything that you are eating is wild caught, not from China, and from well-sourced, good aqua fisheries, because all that other stuff we ain't got time for. Back to you, Mr. Satchel. Where'd he go? He went to sleep. He took a nap. You didn't want to talk about it no more?
Wait.
He's probably traumatized.
Let me share something with you.
Yes.
I should have put Marcus on you because I know he over there just like every week it's like what am I going to do? I'm so glad you didn't say flounder, because I swear if you just said flounder, I would have came over your house.
I did say flounder.
She did say flounder. She said
did she?
I did. Yes. Flounder falls under that flat fish. Yep, it's a flatfish.
Okay, have a great day.
You wasn't taking good notes.
No, I got a lot of stuff going on. I would have stopped her right there, Sherry.
He said halibut, flounder.
I heard that, but this was started off with tilapia. All the black fish, all the people that black, because
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
You did give a good source for flounder that was acceptable, didn't you?
Let me see. Let me go back through my notes.
And is there a good source for shrimp?
You just have to make sure.
Come out of China.
Pretty much, Desmond. Catch your own fish.
Yeah, catch your own.
But if it's
know what water you fishing in too.
Well, it's more than just catching your own fish. You got to know what's in that water.
Yeah, it needs to be. It has to be wild caught, and it can't be from certain places. You want to make sure that it's not farm raised. And I noticed in the grocery store, they actually put that is farm raised. They got it on there. Like they just slinging it out there. I'm like, ooh, they really gonna tell you. So it's just that a lot of people aren't educated enough to know that
it's allowing me.
So let's see.
It says activation lock.
Can't mute yourself.
Marine fisheries.
Darlaina, what about, you didn't touch on it, what about being careful when you purchase scallops?
Why you say it like that? Yeah.
Well, all of it is, whatever it is, you definitely want to make sure that it's wild caught. Scallops did not make the list of things that you should not eat. So
Well,
I
they're
think
substituting some places.
Why you say it like that?
Are substituting a called skate.
that
And they're
one.
purposely mislabeling it as scallops. Skate is a cheaper fish,
Okay.
and they're mislabeling it as scallops, and people are paying because scallops, depending on where you
pricey.
get it,
Yeah.
could be upwards of $15,
Yes.
$18, $19 a pound.
Absolutely.
And and like they're passing off this cheap fish as scallops.
I'm not surprised. You heard what I said about grouper. Grouper is like being sold as grouper at a higher price, but it is really catfish. Like, and unless you are a real fish connoisseur, you wouldn't know. I ain't know. I absolutely did not know. So it's really
Lady Lynn.
Hmm?
And what they do with skates is they cookie punch the wings.
Yeah,
And it does look like scallop.
that's what I heard.
And skates is a garbage fish.
Yeah, I heard that too.
Yeah.
When I go fishing, the Orientals that be on the boat, if you catch a skate, they will they will ask you, can they have?
I bet they do.
Wow.
And they take the cookie hole punching, and they punch the wings, and they'll eat it right there on the boat.
Oh.
Wow.
Or they do sashimi on the boat all the time.
That's a no-go.
And everything.
That's a no-go. Absolutely a no-go.
They'll do it. You catch porgies. They'll sashimi porgies. They'll sashimi sea bass. They sashimi anything that's caught. And eat it right there on the boat.
Nope.
No.
Nope.
But, when you fishing in the in seawater and you fishing for not bottom fish, top fish, it's pretty safe because the salt water has its things to kill bacteria and stuff like that in seawater. So fish that are not bottom fish, pretty good. But there are certain fish that you don't want to eat too often, like striped bass.
Yeah.
And striped bass is high in mercury.
Yes, absolutely. It definitely made the list. For the basses. So yeah.
Basically saying everything except the goldfish.
No. Let me tell you.
She done basically said
when you fishing yourself.
Nothing.
When you go out and you fishing for yourself, and you're a seasoned fisherman, you know what fish that, and where you fishing, you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
But that ain't me. I'm not a seasoned fisherman. My idea of going to fishing is going to the grocery store. And she just said I can't eat nothing that I've been eating. I'm gonna end up with a bag of goldfish crackers and some bread.
Marcus, let me tell you the difference. When you eat any fish that I caught, and you go to the market to buy fish, your fish look like a dope fiend because the eyes ain't clear.
Mm-hmm.
The fish I got, the eyes are clear. If you look at a fish, you buying fish, and the eyes are not clear, put that fish down.
Yeah, if the eyes aren't clear and if the eyes are sunken, in
but
too.
You know what the other problem is with that too? Because our generation was raised, you go to the fish market.
Or the fish man.
You can still see the heads on the fish. You can see the clear eyes. And now I am hard pressed to find a fish market. I just found a regular butcher, that I could go to. And but I will be joining Laverne down at Reading Terminal.
Absolutely. Remember the fish man used to come down the block on Saturday mornings? Fish man, fresh fish.
Another thing, when you go and buy fish, they ice that fish over and over and over again. So when you pick the fish up, feel it. If it ain't solid, that fish been iced over and over again. If it's not gutted already, it should be solid.
You mean when you say
that means it's fresh. If it's mushy and soft, that fish been iced over and over and over again. Because they ain't gonna throw away. They gonna make sure they hold it until they sell it. Unless you know the people come in, the inspectors come in and check it.
Wow.
It's hard pressed for me to buy fish. Once to go to the market and buy fish because I fish.
Yeah, so you know the deal.
Now, I hate going to the market. I hate giving them money for things I can go out and catch.
Yeah, I've been suffering so much since we had our fish program went down. I don't know when it's coming back up because I hate going to the market too. I do go to the Reading terminal when I go get fish, but it's hard when you have a great source because the minister used to have our fish tested for mercury and everything, and we had a particular fishery we dealt with. And we got two kinds of salmon. We had sole and we had whiting. And do you know that some places substitute that swai fish for whiting?
Whiting H&G?
Telling me.
A mess. It's all about the service to the almighty dollar. That's what it's all about. It's all about the money. It's all about the money. So our goal is just to be educated so that they can't pull the wool over our eyes. We know that that's what was happening. And so we can then go there with the knowledge that we have and make educated choices for what we decide to purchase and what we decide to eat at the restaurant. It's okay.
Go ahead and get out on the water in the next few weeks and go fishing now.
Yeah, go fishing for all of us.
Please let us know when you do.
Yeah, you can go for all of us.
I was gonna say, cause man, where you at?
New York.
I'm in New York.
What state you in, Desmond?
New York.
Yeah.
I live on Long Island.
I'd rather pay you and ship it.
Yeah. It's fresh.
Unfortunately, the what you go don't let us catch it like that.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, you can only catch so much a day.
Yeah, my sisters in-laws, they're in South Carolina, so they fish often, and they brought me a whole catfish. They skinned it for me already. So kind of trust, they've been doing it for a minute too. So I trust where they get it.
Come up. That's what I'm saying.
I cannot believe Marcus talking about Vandy Camps.
Lake or river fish.
Vandy Camps got so much processing on top of the fish with the breading and everything else.
Don't entertain his
Oh my God. He's definitely being, yes.
Just saying. I said a minute ago, you
Paul's and Gordon's too.
I mean, you left me with nothing but a bag of goldfish crackers and a slice of bread. That's it. That's all I got. That's all I got.
Listen,
ladies and gentlemen, it has been real, but we gotta go. But at the end of the day, I am so mad at you, Darlaina.
Oh my God! Don't be mad. Don't be mad.
Don't shoot the messenger.
Yes.
Just be educated.
Thank you very much, Darlaina. We love you.
We love you. I love you. I love you more. I love you more.
That being said, have a great day on purpose. We'll see you tomorrow day. Same time, same place, same station. Have a great day. Take control over your life. If you don't, that fish to attack.
And Marcus, take them things out your ear, Marcus. Marcus.
Inside out.
Can't eat nothing around here.
Bye, Marcus.
But Marcus got them. He got them ear things in his ear. Y'all seen that? Thank you guys for watching. Have an amazing rest of your day. Bye for now.